Welcome back to A Toda Madre. William, you are back.
You're right. Been busy. Life
busy,
is
busy.
underway.
The last time we spoke, we were touching on some subjects not regarding what's it called, wrestling, right? Because that's our thing. It was wrestling. But now that we're so close to where we want to be at, I want to ask you some questions. I remember that you were telling me if you want to talk about baseball, I got you, blah 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 blah. Right? You created your channel since last time that we also spoke. That you've been actually being on it. You're on it, which is called Halos Talk on TikTok. William, if the Halos for somehow some miracle do not stop losing, like as in they win every single game from now on, can they make it to the playoffs?
Yeah, it's still early. It's very early. But yeah, you could still lose a few series and still make playoffs easily.
Because we went on a what 8 game, 9 game run where we swept
Again,
the Dodgers, we
mhm.
swept the what was it the other team?
Sacramento Ace.
There you go, Sacramento. I was thinking the California team, and then we lost against fucking Seattle and we lost the series.
Uh,
Um,
to Miami and to New York. Yeah.
we lost the whole series to Miami and New York.
We got swept by New York and we lost the series to Miami 2-1.
Okay, 2-1. I thought it was Seattle. My bad.
No.
It, it's a cosa más. But I'm looking at it. We go on that streak. We're like, oh shit, Trout's back. Oh shit. But the fuck? That was random. No, shut the fuck up. That was my phone. um, when I'm looking at that, but then I see how they suck, right? They keep losing. They keep losing. They keep losing. Do you think we have a chance to make it to the playoffs?
I've said it once and I'll say it again. We're making the playoffs. It's that simple. I'm not being biased just because I'm an Angels fan. They just beat the Red Sox the series yesterday, 2 days ago, yesterday and today. Today they lost, but they won the series over in Boston. Unless they're playing tomorrow, which I'm not sure if it's a 4 game or a 3 game, but I think it's a 3 game. Regardless, they blew them out on the first day, and then they won in extras yesterday. They should have won today. They were winning. What was it? 4-0 in the first inning, and then they were losing 5-4, and then they were winning 7-5, and it just was going back and forth up until the game ended, and they ended up blowing. They blew the save, and they lost 11-9. But yeah, Mike Trout's back. As long as Mike Trout does not go back into the injury list, and he gives us the full season, ever since he came back, he's been hot as hell. He's been hitting. There's no question about it. So if we get this Trout and not the beginning of the season Trout, because he was just hitting bombs and striking out, now he's actually batting for average and for home runs and for whatever you need him to do. So that's the difference between the beginning of the season Trout and this Trout. So if he stays like that, they're making the playoffs. If he goes to the AL, they're making the playoffs. Like, I believe they will make a few trades. I'm pretty sure they're gonna let go of Jorge Soler in a trade. I'm sure they'll try to flip Rengifo and possibly Taylor Ward. Taylor Ward is on a hot streak as hell, but that's what he is. He's the streakiest hitter that Angels have. He'll be hot like this, and just like that, he'll be cold, completely cold.
But when you tell me don't make the playoffs, you're saying I'm not being biased because it's my team, right? You're saying it from the knowledge that you have baseball. Now, when I'm looking at the standings, right? American League West, you got the Astros at 33. You got the Mariners at 32. The Rangers at 29. Angels at 28, which we're not that far behind. But then you look at the Tigers, the Twins with also 33, 40, 32 with the Guardians. Yankees 37, Rays 31 and 31. Where do they enter as a wild card or like straight in? Like as in like they'll jump in placement to get there?
Will they win the division? No, they're not going to win the division, but they're going in as a wild card. I mean, you're talking about what, 3 wild card spots that there is up for grabs.
Yes.
So you have obviously the division, and then the 3 spots in wild card. So really, the Angels are going in as a wild card. Do they catch up to Seattle? No, they're not going to catch up to Seattle. You have to go through Houston, you have to go through Texas and Seattle to get to number 1. It's not going to happen. But they have the wild card. I mean, if you think about it, the Braves. Let's talk about the Braves for a second. They started the season terrible. They were like 0-8, 0-9, and now
Yes.
they have the same record as the Angels, same record as the Red Sox. So it's like the Angels again. They just beat the Red Sox. It's proving like, hey, we could beat the good teams, but we're also gonna lose against the worst teams that there is because that's just who we are. That's just who the Angels are. They are a charity team. Like here's some points to a charity. But let's go ahead and take it from the big guys. I mean, we swept the Dodgers. Yeah, we lost to the Yankees, but really it could have gone either way. We could have won a few games against the Yankees. It just
Is
didn't
it
happen.
like I look at your channel, right, at Halos Talk. I look at the videos. Yeah, I'll give you a like, because I do like the content and it keeps me up to date with the baseball as well. But something that I loved is when, give me a second. Yeah, so I was saying that no nomás porque eres mi hermano, no nomás porque te conozco, voy a mirar tu canal. Like, actually, because I like the baseball, that's the fastest news I can get without getting into big media, ESPN. Plus, ESPN doesn't really bring up the Angels. They only talk about the big teams. That's what I've noticed, right? They only want to talk about the big teams: Houston, Dodgers, Yankees, the Mets, and I forgot who's the other one they talk a lot of. I think they talk a lot about Padres in a way. But because the Angels is a losing team, they're putting them onto the side, right? They don't talk about them. When I hear your stuff, I do love one time when we went on that 8 game streak. You're all talking about you getting excited, and then we lose the series right away after that, and then you talk shit on the Angels. And I was like, and welcome back to what we were actually. And I'm like, that to me shows that you can talk shit to your team. Like you're not gonna be just biased and always keeping a positive light. Because I've noticed when on the comment section, every time that I post for A Toda Madre and I send the Dodgers thing, people will give you shit that you're like, no, you're just a hater, you're just that. But until they actually see that you're talking shit on the Angels too, not just in a positive light, you're like, yeah, you can actually take his criticism very truthful because he's not just goading his team. He's not just glossing them. He's gonna give the flowers where they're at. Like for instance, the Dodgers smoking the Yankees 18-2, I think it was.
Right?
I'm like,
Yeah.
damn. I'm like, you guys sweep the series with the Angels, but then you guys lose 18-2. Like, what the fuck? I'm like, well, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. But then the Angels sweep the series with the Dodgers. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on here?
It's baseball. I mean, baseball is really one of the sports that you can't. It's not predictable. The outcome is not predictable. You could bet on the worst team and potentially, get a good money out of it. Yeah. I talk bad on the Angels sometimes. Yeah, because that's just who we are. We have streakiest hitters. We have players who aren't able to clutch. We have a young core, and if you get the right manager in place, don't get me wrong. I love Ron Washington, but sometimes I question his decisions. Um, but if you get the right manager in place, I'm sure you go a long way. Ron Washington today. Why don't you throw Kenley Jansen out there? Like, yes, I get it. He pitched yesterday, but why not pitch him again today? Like, he's a professional. He could go back to back games. You don't have to give him a rest day. Like, no. Like, this was a must win game. You win it and you sweep the series against the Red Sox. But instead he threw Burke. Don't get me wrong. I love Burke. But he obviously blew the lead and blew the save and game over. But had you had Kenley Jansen, could have been a whole different story.
Yeah. Okay. So right now you're saying not just because you're a fan of the Angels, but you are saying Angels are in the playoffs. This is how they're playing right now.
Yeah, Angels are making playoffs. Yes.
So you're not. Let's say they lose Mike Trout or crowd starts bombing again. Are they still making playoffs?
Look, simple. Mike Trout goes injured. You have your replacement. You have Matthew Lugo. We obviously signed Chris Taylor from the Dodgers. I did not agree with that signing. I didn't talk about it in my podcast, but I'm on Halo's Talk. I didn't talk about it, but it's with Chris Taylor is why are you signing him? You have Matthew Lugo, who's been hot since you called him up. You had Kyron Perez, who started off the year hella hot. Yes, he cooled off because the pitchers figured him out. But he's in AAA now and he's killing it in AAA. So you call him back up, that's good. All right, cool. You signed Chris Taylor to play infield because he's a utility player. He can play anything. Why? You have Christian Moore, top prospect Christian Moore in AAA. Yeah, I guess you want to give him more reps down there, I guess. But you could call him up. He could get a few at bats. Why not? You have Kingsbury, who's killing it. He's old. He's an older player, but he's killing it in AAA. Give him a shot. There's like a lot of AAA players the Angels have who have been in the minor league system with different organizations, not just the Angels, who could potentially do productive, but they don't get their shots. And when they do get their shots, their leash is really, really short. So like, okay, you didn't do anything, go back down. And it's like, no, well, they're never gonna prove something unless it just doesn't happen. And that's why you have the signings of Chris Taylor. Again, Tyler Anderson already got not Tyler, sorry, it's Tim Anderson already got cut. But regardless, it's like you gave all these guys a chance before your own system, who by the way have some really good players down there. But obviously when it comes down to our main roster players, you have the Zach Netos of the world, you have the Logan O'Hoppies, who's second in RBIs on the team behind Taylor Ward, and then you have Nolan Shuano, whose on base percentage is just incredible, and obviously again our top prospect Christian Moore. And let's not get started with our second overall draft pick coming up in July. We have the number 2 pick. Who are we taking? I'm pretty sure we're taking a pitcher. But if Ethan Holiday is at the board at number 2, yeah, the Angels are taking Holiday, no question about it.
And then low key, when I've been watching the highlights and when I sometimes watch the game when I sit down and watch it, I've been digging this guy Neto.
Yeah.
And then he reminds me also of our friend Neto, who's also an Angels fan. So I was like, I straight up told him, you should definitely fucking buy his jersey. Your name is Neto. That guy's last name is Neto. I'm like, you're an Angels fan. What the fuck are you doing?
See, for those who don't know, right? I collect baseball cards, and I bought this. It's hold on, let me. If you look up there, you can't really see it, but it's a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
So a PSA 9. I bought this shit for $200. And I'm collecting that specific card with that specific, like, different colors.
Okay.
Always autographed. So I have the out of 200, out of 150, out of 100, out of 99, out of 75, out of 50, out of 5. I'm just missing the out of 1. So when someone finds it and puts it on eBay, I'm buying it. And I'm missing the out of 10. When somebody finds it and puts it on eBay, I'm buying it. So I'm gonna have his whole collection basically. But I have Zach Nato. I mean, like you said, like that's a jersey you're gonna have to buy. Like he is now. Don't get me wrong. The Artie Moreno, I don't know what he's gonna do with the team. I don't know what his mindset is. But if you want to stick to the team, you give Zach Nato his extension contract now. You give Logan O'Hoppe his extension contract now. You give Nolan Shuano his extension now. All these young players, and you do something the Braves do. The Braves took Ronald Acuna when he was young. They gave him his contract extension when he was young. Michael Harris, young, contract extension. Austin Riley, Spencer Strider. You name them. Every single one of them got their extensions. They avoided the arbitration clause. They avoided everything. Yeah, they were paying him bigger money, but they're producing. Zach Nato's fucking producing. He missed the beginning half of the season because of injury, and he came back. He has about the same amount of games played as Trout. He has the same home runs as Trout. Yeah, less RBIs. Yeah, because he's a leadoff hitter. That's what happens when you're a leadoff. You don't get chances of RBIs, but you're producing for your team. So at this point, it's like you're number 4, number 5 in your team on home runs hit and leading your team in batting average. Like, bro, like give this guy his contract.
How old is he? How old is he?
24, I believe.
Oh, you give him his extension, you'll have him for his prime years.
Because regardless, you have him up until 29 or 30 years old. Because you have 6 years. Obviously, the difference is he's on his rookie contract which is basically 400K, 400K, 400K every year. If you're the owner, you want to pay that to save money. But if you want to love your players, like, you know what? You've been proving yourself. Here's your big check of 10-year contract, and I'll be paying you $8 million a year. But yeah, it's a little bit it's a lot right now, and people will be like, damn, he's getting lowballed. Well, yeah, but at the same time, he's young, and really the Angels don't have to give him this contract because they could still pay him the 400K if they want to.
True.
But I'm signing you long term, and you're staying with the team. Same thing goes with Logan O'Hoppe. Same thing goes with Toronto, and obviously Christian Moore when he gets promoted. So they have, and then obviously don't get me started with the pitchers. You have, freaking Zephyr John, right?
Yeah.
You have Ryan Zephyr John, who is killing it for us, and then you have Samuel Aldegree, who got called up from Boston. We got him from the trade in Boston last season. He played against Boston, this year. So he just got called up. He pitched today. But it's all these young players that is like, okay, well, these are your prospects that you have to take care of because this is your future, your nucleus that you're building. And again, don't get me started with that number 2 pick because we haven't had a top 5 pick in God knows how long. Our last solid good pick, obviously Mike Trout, was what freaking number 27th round or not round but pick or something like that.
Around there. I remember. I said at that time I was still watching baseball, so yes, I understand what you the last pick that we had that close. So we are gonna get a good number, ladies and gentlemen. William, that's what he does. That's his channel. He details everything, and he gets down to the nitty gritty. He posts literally every time there are Assyrians. He brings it up, and like I said, I follow his channel. I love it because it does only keep it consistent to your team. So you're an Anaheim Angels fan, or if you want to learn more about the Anaheim Angels, check his channel out.